So I just finished watching the AMD Keynote at Computex. Now this is an industry technology show held every year in Taiwan, and obviously because this year there's a pandemic, most of these keynotes are held online. Now with AMD, they still managed to surprise me, even though we knew some of the information going into this keynote, like for example the AMD Fidelity Super Resolution that was leaked just before the show. But even knowing some of the content, AMD still managed to surprise me and shock me, and we'll get into that in this video. Now, if you like this video, make sure to click the like button, also to subscribe to this channel, and we also have a Discord server as well, so make sure to come along and join the discussion there, and I'll leave a link in the description below. So in this video, we're going to talk about the things that AMD discussed in their keynote, though obviously heavily summarized, and we're just going to hit on those main points. And really the only thing we're not talking about is the AMD EPYC CPUs, though I don't think they announced the product there anyway. And please watch to the end of this video because the announcements from AMD just keep getting better and better. Alright, so let's start off with the APUs, and AMD revealed the 5700G and the 5600G, and Video Cards has a pretty good summary here. The 5700G will be an 8-core 16-thread processor running at 4.6 GHz, and the 5600G will be a 6-core 12-thread processor running at 4.4 GHz. Now these are just a touch slower than their CPU-only counterparts. The 5700X runs at 4.7 GHz out of the box, and the 5600X runs at 4.6 GHz. So these are going to have very comparable performance, and I don't think anyone is going to notice the difference in gaming. These processors being APUs, they have integrated graphics, so it comes with 8 compute units of Vega graphics on the 5700G, and 7 compute units on the 5600G, and it's a bit disappointing that they removed one of the compute units off the 5600G. To be honest, I was wondering whether this was a good idea from AMD to be releasing APUs and take away silicon from other products, but I think they would be taking away from their CPU supply, and they would be adding integrated graphics on that. So for people who aren't quite ready to buy a graphics card just yet because of the inflated prices, I think this is a good idea, and then the integrated graphics can hold them over for a little bit of time before they go and buy their graphics card. Now let's talk a little bit about the integrated graphics here, and this is going to be Vega graphics, not RDNA 2 graphics. So this is the type of performance that you've already seen before in previous AMD APUs, such as the 3200G and the 3400G. So if you want to know how these new APUs perform in terms of graphics, go and check out those older APUs, and that should provide you enough evidence of roundabout roughly what performance you're going to get. And we're talking like maybe Xbox One level type of performance here, or a little bit below that. So we're talking like 900p at 30 frames per second on some of these older last gen titles. So it's nothing incredible to write home about, but it could hold you over, and you could be able to play esport titles at like 1080p, 30 FPS, or even 60 FPS for some older titles. Now, one thing that AMD didn't talk about in this section of the video, because they hadn't quite announced it yet and it was coming up later in their video, was that Fidelity Super Resolution is going to help on these Ryzen APUs. So expect a little bit of a bump in performance, though we don't know exactly how much, although it looks like it's going to be tied to the GPU core in terms of performance for FSR, but it should help a little bit. And anything that helps these APUs get an increase in performance is very much appreciated. Next, AMD revealed their GPUs for the gaming laptops, and this was actually what I wanted to talk about today, but it's been dwarfed by all of these other announcements. So they announced the 6800M, which looks to be equivalent to the 6700 XT GPU core on the desktop. It has 40 compute units and 12 gigabytes of VRAM running on lower clocks on the laptop. The 6700M is a cut down version with 36 compute units and 10 gigabytes of VRAM. And finally, the 6600M with 28 compute units and 8 gigabytes of VRAM. Of the three, I think the 6600M looks the most interesting, and it's going to depend on pricing, of course, but on a laptop size screen, I think 1080p is going to be a good experience for both working and gaming, and it's going to have a better battery life. Plus, FSR is obviously going to boost performance, and the 6600M is going to have 8 gigabytes of VRAM, which is great. As I complained earlier in my other video about Nvidia 3060 and 3050 Ti laptop GPUs, only getting 4 gigabytes and 6 gigabytes of VRAM. These AMD laptops will be available starting in June. The next thing AMD revealed was Fidelity Super Resolution, which was the best thing that they had announced so far in their keynote, with a lot of unexpected information. Now, Fidelity Super Resolution, or FSR, is AMD's answer to Nvidia's DLSS, where you take an image and you upscale it and output it with increased performance or frame rates. So essentially you're getting a free performance boost with almost negligible image quality loss. At least that's how it worked on Nvidia's DLSS anyways. But we really have to wait and see with FSR if it works as AMD says it should. So it's coming at the end of this month, so get ready to try FSR out. Now, AMD is actually reporting in their keynote that they're getting about a 50% performance boost in their Ultra setting and almost 2 times performance boost, which is 300% in their performance mode. Now here comes the bombshell. FSR is going to be backwards compatible with many GPUs, both Nvidia GPUs and AMD GPUs. So with older GPUs like Radeon 5000 series, Radeon 500, and even Ryzen CPUs with integrated graphics on them, like the APUs that we just talked about earlier, this is all going to work on those GPUs. And FSR is also going to be available on Nvidia graphics cards as well. And as you know, DLSS is only available on Nvidia RTX cards because it uses those tensor cores in those Nvidia GPUs. Now, AMD showed FSR working on an Nvidia GTX 1060, which, if I just pause this frame here, it shows it running Godfall and getting a 41% improvement in frame rate using the quality mode setting, which is the step below Ultra. Now, with a 6800 XT, it could get up to a 200% improvement with the quality setting, so it could be that FSR seems to rely on the GPU core to boost performance. We still don't know how FSR works underneath. Perhaps it's a combination of various implementations like checkerboard rendering and upscaling. But if the end result is close enough, then AMD is going to close the gap on advantages Nvidia currently has. Finally, something truly astounding, AMD showcased some of their newer technologies going forward, 3D stack cache on their Ryzen CPUs. AMD talked about how more memory bandwidth would enable better gaming performance, and they collaborated with TSMC fabs to create 3D stacked memory to boost the amount of available cache. Lisa Su used the 5900X as an example. Previously, the CCD, or the core chiplet die, had 32 megabytes of L3 cache. The new 3D stacked L3 cache added another 64 megabytes of L3 cache for a total of 96 megabytes of L3 cache, tripling the amount of cache. And this was on just one CCD. So on a 5900X or a 5950X with 2 CCDs, the total amount of L3 cache would be 192 megabytes of L3 cache. In terms of real-world gaming performance, this boosted performance by 15% faster on average. That's huge, given that's only one aspect of the CPU. Lisa Su also said it's on track to come this year, so I'm guessing in Q3 or Q4, we're going to be getting a Zen 3 Plus CPU. So I'll leave it there. If you want more information, go and check out AMD's keynote. It's not very long, it's just 40 minutes, and it's available on their YouTube channel, but there's a lot of stuff there that I didn't talk about. For example, Frank Azor talked about the design of laptops, so go and check that out for the full experience. But that's it for this one. If you like this video, make sure to click the like button, also to subscribe to this channel for more videos like this, and I'll see you in the next one.